The security gate beeped sharply as Nina Carter stepped into the marble lobby of Redwood Plaza, her shoes echoing louder than usual. She didn't wear her janitor's uniform today. Instead, she walked fast, clutching a brown envelope to her chest as morning executives turned to stare. For 4 years, she had entered through the service door before dawn. Today, she chose the front. If you believe stories like this deserve to be told, comment, like the video, and subscribe right now for more powerful real-life inspired stories. Nina reached the elevator bank just as a voice cut through the hum of the lobby. "Miss, this floor is restricted." Ethan Redwood, the billionaire owner of the building, stood there with his assistant, eyes fixed on her unfamiliar outfit. Nina swallowed, then lifted the envelope. She said calmly that she was there to resign. Ethan frowned, surprised, but nodded toward the elevator. On the executive floor, instead of leaving, Nina placed the envelope on the conference table and slid out a second, thicker folder. She told him it wasn't just a resignation. It was a proposal. Ethan flipped through the pages in silence. Floor plans. Cost breakdowns. A full redevelopment concept for the abandoned North Wing everyone had written off after a failed multi-million-dollar attempt years ago. Nina explained without rambling.
She spoke about wasted space, poor material choices, and how the design ignored human flow. She admitted she was self-taught, that she had studied architecture before life forced her to quit, and that she'd spent months learning again at night after cleaning offices. The room stayed quiet. Ethan finally asked her to critique the old design that had burned through money and failed. Nina didn't hesitate. She pointed out ventilation flaws, unnecessary imported materials, and how the layout increased maintenance costs. She wasn't defensive. She was precise. Ethan leaned back, studying her like a problem he hadn't expected to solve. Then he said she would present this to the executive team the next morning. If she failed, the proposal would be forgotten. If she didn't, everything would change. That night, Nina didn't sleep. The next day, the boardroom was colder than the lobby had ever felt. Executives whispered. Marla Quinn, the senior development lead, didn't hide her smirk. A cleaner presenting a redevelopment plan felt like a joke to them. Nina felt it, but she stood anyway. She walked them through function before beauty, cost before ego, longevity before trends. When questioned, she answered. When challenged, she corrected herself once, then adjusted the numbers. The room shifted slowly. One executive stopped checking his phone. Another leaned forward. Marla interrupted sharply, questioning Nina's credentials. Nina answered with results, not emotion. She said titles didn't build spaces, understanding did. Ethan said nothing until the end. Then he closed the folder and looked around the table. He approved the project and placed Nina in charge of the redevelopment under supervision. The room went silent. Marla stared. Nina's hands shook, but she stood still. Weeks later, Nina walked into the North Wing again, not with a mop, but with blueprints under her arm. Workers nodded at her now. The building felt different, and so did she. She hadn't been given a miracle. She had built one quietly, late at night, when no one was watching. If this story moved you, subscribe now for more stories about hidden strength, second chances, and people who refuse to stay invisible.